Hello everyone and welcome to my Warden healer build updated for the Backwood chapter. So this build has actually been a long time coming. I've been preparing this since the PTS patch dropped on PC almost 3 months ago, so this has actually been a very long time coming. So let's get started. For this build we are playing as usual as a Breton. You can also make it work on Argonian, but Breton is just in my opinion the best class to play, the best race to play healer as, in PvP especially. So for the attributes we are playing on 54 max mag, 10 into health, which gives us a healthy pool of 34 max magicka and 32 when you're buffed up max health, with still 20k stamina. Spell damage is pretty nice over the over the 3k bar when you're buffed up, and magicka recovery is still pretty reasonable at 2.2. This is without a combat modifier in Cyrodiil. Spell resistances, as you can see, are pretty low, but don't worry, this will go up at least 3 times what you see when you're buffed up. And critical resistances is pretty decent. For the food we are using Bewitch Sugar Skulls, of course. Max health, max mag, max stam, and also a little bit of health recovery. This is going to be especially valuable with the changes to Battle Spirit that reduces your health recovery by half, because previously it was just easy to stack crazy amounts of health recovery to compensate the healing. And the Monderstone is of course the Atronach, which gives us 310 magicka recovery. So for the sets, we are using a Arena Staff 3A, which is the Black Rose Resto Arena on the main bar, which I did different from my other setups. For the body, the monster set is going to be the Bloodspawn and Spindle Clutch. It just offers us a nice pool of ultimate regen as well as physical and spell resistances. For the traits we are playing with 2-piece heavy and 4-piece light, 1-piece medium. We are having a tri-stat enchant and the head is in heavy infused. The shoulder of the Bloodspawn is medium, max magicka and impenetrable. The body set is going to be one of the new craftable sets available in the Backwood chapter. It's called Heartland Conqueror. You need to have at least 7 research trait to get it. If you can't get it, you can still ask a friend or a guildmate, but it's only available in the Backwood chapter or at a guild house if one of your guildmates has put this set in its house. The traits on the chest is going to be reinforced with a tri-stat enchant so that we can take the most value out of the set. And what it does, it's similar to Shacklebreaker, but in my opinion I think it's even stronger. It gives weapon damage and spell damage. It gives max magicka and max stamina. But the interesting trait is the 5-piece. It increases the power of your weapon trait by 100%, which pretty much just doubles it. What it does, that it will make your healing staff go up to 80% more healing done if the trait is empowered. And if you're playing with a staff on your back bar, which counts doubles, which is what I recommend for this build, on defensive it will give you over 600 more armor just on your back bar, which is insane. The waist is in light, impen, same as the gloves, the legs and the feet. Everything is in light. except for the feat which is infused max tri-stat glyph, because the enchant is stronger on the legs than on the other pieces. For our 5-piece bonus on the back bar, we are playing with the Meritorious Service, which is a set that can be bought from the Telva merchant in the Imperial City. So if you don't have it, you can either try to look for it at a guild store, which is going to be a drag because no one usually plays it. So I guess if you want the purple jewelry, it's alright, you can get that pretty fast with a little bit of RNG luck. And if you want to make it like me and grind for the golden, it's gonna take some time. They cost you can buy them. It's 100k Talvar for one piece of jewelry. Our 3 jewelry pieces are all arcane with magicka recovery. What it does, it gives us maximum health, maximum magicka. The health helps us compensate the lack of the constitution passive, since we only have 2 pieces in heavy instead of 5. So this is pretty nice. On the back bar, it will give us 129 spell damage as well. And the 5-piece bonus is, when you cast a support ability in combat, it increases your physical and spell resistance of yourself, so it will always be for you no matter what. And if you are in a group, it also goes out to up to 5 group members within 10 meters. It's pretty nice, and it does a really nice visual effect, which I will show you in a bit. And of course, on our main bar, we are playing with, there we go, the Black Rose restoration staff. On the setup, I am playing with traumatic poison, which puts 200 heal absorption on my target, which is not changed by the Cyrodiil combat effect, so it's still gonna be 200k heal absorption, which is huge. And you receive minor heroism for 6 seconds. It's a nice boost, you don't really need it, but I like to build my ultimate fast, and if you combine this with Bloodspawn, you will get your ultimate really fast. And what the staff does, it applies major vitality to your target for 4 seconds, which increases its healing taken by 16%. You add this to the 18% you actually already have with the Empower trait, and you see this is getting pretty insane. For the skills, on the main bar we are using Bull Betty, which is gonna be your animal companion skill for the regen passive, called Deceptive, where is it? It's Flourish, exactly, for the 12% more recovery, and also it's a free skill you can just spam to cleanse any negative attack, siege or anything off you. It's free of use, so you can just have a free purge on cooldown. It also gives you a little ultimate regen every 8 seconds. You get 4 ultimate for using it for free. Our second skill is going to be regeneration. This is a no-brainer. It's a really good heal over time that goes on to you or 3 other targets, and it also stacks with other procs of the same skill. So if someone in your group or just around you, outside of your group, is using the skill and it reaches you, you can stack several of these. It shouldn't be a thing, but it still is, so we can just fucking use it. Healing word, well, healing word's pretty much a no-brainer. It's not written here, but it scales off weapon and spell damage. So when you use it in Cyrodiil, it will give you a approximately 400k shield, which is not much if you think about it when you are on full health, but the strength of the shield is increased by 100%, so doubled basically, depending on the life of your target. So if you're hitting someone who's low, he can have a up to 8k shield, which is actually insane. Also, the shield heals the target for its remaining strength every second, and with the Backwood resto staff, this is increased by 18%. Our fourth skill is Blessing of Restoration, again from the Regen staff skill. It's a nice area effect kind of burst heal, which you can use as such. It still gives us a nice 5 to 6k with it if it crits heal and Cyrodiil, which is still pretty strong. And it also grants us and everyone around us in the area a minor resolve, which increases our physical and spell resistance by almost 3k for 16 seconds. And our burst heal and movement ability, and our last heal is Bursting Veins. This is actually a very strong but at the same time very tricky skill to use. It's our burst heal, and combined together with Healing Word, the heal you can get out of it is almost as strong, I promise you. When it crits, is as strong as a tooltip when you're not on Cyrodiil. I've been getting ticks at least 10k heals on a single target heal. It's very tricky and very sometimes dangerous to use in some situations since it grabs you onto the target, so you need to be careful that you don't grab yourself into too much danger without having a route out or having a plan of escape. I mean, if you mean to protect that ally who is in a group of 10 people with barrier or permafrost, then go ahead and do it. You will probably save his life. But if you don't and you just want to heal that person, think about it twice, at least at the beginning. It's also nice. It's also a really strong movement skill which can help you either when you are sieging a keep and you need to go through the front door fast. You leech onto someone who's already inside, and you will actually avoid some of the oil damage. It doesn't say dodge, but you'll just be in there so fast that you won't take the oil damage if you were just walking. It can also be a really nice escape skill, which I like having on the front bar. Because if you're getting focused and someone is far away, or a Sork is the best example, you can just escape really fast from tricky situation if you're playing together with a Sork, or a Sork around you, for example. It also gives you a nice ultimate regen if you're healing someone who's low. Our ultimate skill on our main bar is of course Reviving Barrier. This is a no-brainer. I will never take this skill off, it's just the best healing ability in the game. It was stealth nerfed in Greymore, I think, where you could only, still right now, they made align the cost with Warhorn, which is now 250, and they made it so it was group only, so if you're outside of group, or just playing on your own, I guess you can use it selfishly just for yourself. But you have to know that people around you will not benefit from barrier if they are not in the group. Also, another interesting thing is try and use your barrier when you are at fully buffed. And I will show you the resistances you have, because the strength of the barrier will carry on your own resistances and slap it onto your group mates. So if you're having a barrier that, for example, procs when you have 41k resistances, which is what you will have if you're fully buffed up at the moment you trigger it, the barrier will calculate the incoming damage with your 40k resistances. So think about that. On our back bar we are playing Efficient Purge, of course, because this is a mandatory skill to make our back bar build work. It's our cleanse and armor buff. It doesn't cost that much because we're playing 4-piece light, which makes our magical skill cost less. You could eventually swap it into cleanse to heal your allies at the same time, but I just feel like Efficient Purge is better because you can cast it more often, and since it's an armor buff, you will have to refresh it at least every 20 seconds. Deceptive Predator is a movement ability on the back bar, and it's also a nice protective ability because it gives us minor invasion, reducing the damage from area attacks by 10%. This is actually huge because, as you will see or have already noticed, lots of the incoming damage is AoE based, so everything that can reduce the AoE damage is actually really valuable. Our armor skill is Ice Fortress, of course, giving us major resolve as well as minor protection. Before the Blackwood patch, I used to play during the Flames of Ambition. I used to play with expensive Frost Cloak to reach more allies with the major resolve buff, but unfortunately with the return of Proxet, the damage is just so high that you need the minor protection. It's a really, you notice the difference tremendously. From the destructive stuff we are now playing, since we're using a frost stuff with the frost enchant, we are playing with Blockade of Frost, which enables us to proc the minor brittle on our enemy target, which reduces its critical damage, the chilled status effect, as well as the maim, which reduces their damage done by 3%. This try to keep on the ground as much as possible if you can. It's really annoying for the enemies, one, because they have to CC break from they have to break free from your snare, which is extremely annoying, and also it helps managing the incoming damage. Our Flux ability, oh, and it also gives Frost Safeguard with these ice stuff changes back in the Markout update, which will absorb Uncyrodiil, it's 400k damage from projectiles. It goes on to allies, which is really nice, but we are not playing primarily the skill for the projectile protection. You can still swap it out and take the Shimmering Shield, which is the purple morph, if I can say so, of Crystallized Shield, which gives you major heroism for 6 seconds every time a projectile is absorbed if you feel your protection against single target projectiles, snipers and max orcs is not enough. You can still swap it out. Our flex spot is Budding Seed at the moment because it enables us to have a heal over time on our back bar, which we basically just, I put it on the ground, and when it procs, I try to bar swap to get the 80% more healing on the proc. You can swap it out for Budding Seed eventually, Enchanted Growth eventually, to get the regen and to have a stronger heal on your back bar if you need to. And as the ultimate on our back bar, we are playing with, of course, the Permafrost, which is, in my opinion, now stronger than Healing Thicket. Healing Thicket is still really strong and really cheap, which is one of the strengths of this ultimate. It's a cheap burst heal, but in my opinion, Permafrost is stronger in the sense that it helps mitigate damage much more than actually just healing through it. It also is a very nice skill that you can use defensively and offensively both, since you and your allies gain the major protection buff for 10 seconds and you have an amazing snare around you with the chilled status effects and the 70% speed movement reduction. So you can basically just use it for protection and to push into the group, which gives you a huge advantage where you can push up, be aggressive, and being buffed in a defensive position at the same time. For our passive, we are usually playing with all our racial passives. We have everything. We have the destruction passive and all the restoration passives, as well as light armor. Medium, we are playing with Windwalker, improved sneak and athletics. Heavy armor, we have everything. And then pretty much undaunted, we have what we need is undaunted metal. You can also take undaunted command. Assault, we have the 3 passives, and support, of course, we are playing with all the passives as well. Breton skill, that's a no-brainer, you take everything. Alchemy, you can take chemistry and laboratory use if you are crafting your potions yourself. If you don't, you can just go with medicinal use. That's it for the skills. For the slottables and the potions, the food I already showcased, it's Bewitched Sugar Skull. For the potions you have several options. You can either go with tri-stat potions if you wish, you can also craft them yourself. The recipe for tri-stat potion is Mountain Flower, Columbine and Burgloss. You can go with Essence of Immovability, which gives you back health recovery, magicka recovery, and makes you immune to knockback and disability effects for 10 seconds. The recipe for immunability potions is Columbine, Burgloss and Wormwood. The potions I decide to use for this build are it's called Essence of Health, but it's actually an armor pot. So what it does, it grants you armor, major fortitude, which increases your health recovery even more. It gives you major vitality, increasing your healing taken by 60%, but most importantly it gives you 5k physical resistance, which is the amount you get from your major resolve buff. This is huge because it stacks with your other armor buffs, and it enables me to compensate one of the weaknesses my build has. Since I'm playing with more light pieces than heavy, my physical resistances is not as strong as I would like have it to be, so I'm playing with physical resistance armor pots. Also, you see that the cooldown is 45 seconds, but the actual buff is 47.6 seconds. So which means if you spam these potions on cooldown, your physical resistance buff and your health recovery buff will always be up. The recipe for the armor potions is Butterfly Wing, Mountain Flower and Mudcrab Chitin. I will quickly show you now what our armor buff from the Meritorious service in Cyrodiil looks like, and I will as well showcase you the resistances fully buffed. So we'll take one more look to check our resistances. It's 70k physical resistance, a 11k 17k spell resistance, 11k physical resistance on our healing bar. Let's see, once we buff up, what can we reach? I forgot the pot, 1 second. And the pot, so 1, 2, 3.
I dare say
29k physical and 29k spell resistances on our main bar, which is not our defensive bar. And on the back bar,
I can feel pain, you know.
37k physical resistance and 30k spell resistances on the back bar,
Well,
fully
hopefully you've
buffed,
got that out of your system.
which is pretty good, I would say. So yeah, on paper, on buff, our resistances look pretty weak, but actually once you buff up, you'll see it goes up tremendously. For our champion points, I will put the list of all the slottables and champion points I have, so you can just hit pause. But if I review them quickly, we have, well, the only ones that interest you in this tree anyways is Warmount, which increases annulates the cost of our stamina when we mount, so you can basically run all the time. Gifted Rider, which increases our mount speed by 10%. Right now I also have Master Gatherer and Meritorious as disassembly, which I plan on removing once I have more champion points, and I will replace them both with Liquid Efficiency for to save some of my pots, since I play with armor pots on cooldown. And I will also use Steed Blessing, increasing my movement speed out of combat. For the Warfare tree, we are using 3 defensive slottables, 1 healer slottable. Our healer slottable is focused Our healer slottable is focused mending, which increases the healing done with single target heals by 2% per stage. These abilities affected by this are Radiant Regeneration, Steadfast Word, which is our shield skill, and Healing Veins. So these skills we use the most, that's why I decided to go this way. You can also just swap it out and decide to either go, in my opinion, with Salve of Renewal, since in this build we are cleansing a lot. Every time we cleanse, we just slap on another heal on our cleanse, which is pretty interesting, which kind of makes us play with a cheaper cleanse. You don't have to morph it to the expensive one. This can be one possibility. The other one I really like also is Rejuvenator, which gives which balances out our heals a little bit more, rather than just putting 10% more healing down on single target heals. But then again, that's down to personal preferences, so that's really up to you. Our 3 defensive slots is Resilience, which increases our critical resistances by 600 total. Duelist Rebuff, which reduces our damage taken by 10% from single target attacks, such as Incap, Overlord, Crystal Frag, Snipers, and so on. Everything that's pretty much a single target. And our last one is Unassignable, which will reduce the damage taken from every area of effect by 10%. These 3 champion points, I think you should take them first if you don't have enough points, because right now in this meta, the damage is AoE, the burst, most of it is AoE burst, so these 3 skills, these 3 solubles will really make a difference in your survival. For the fitness tree, our slottables are Bastion, which increases the effectiveness of our shields, Expert Evasion, which gives us on a 30-second cooldown 1 free roll dodge, Rejuvenation, which gives us 150 magical health and stamina recovery, and of course Boundless Vitality, which gives us 140k health. And I think that's pretty much it for this build, so thank you for watching. I hope you will have fun trying it out, and if you have other suggestions or things you would change, you can let me know. Thank you, bye bye.